Consideration of possible action on revisions to the Logan County 5-year plan. Revisions. Shannon? Got anything?
We've discussed several times, both individually and then at our commissioners meeting, the general need of the 5-year plan and the projects that are tentatively scheduled within your 5-year plan that we have in the 2015 to 2019 plan. And then now that we've got some better numbers for the projects in general on the amount of money that's projected to be spent for your projects out there, whether it's design or utilities right away, and then ultimately construction, what we've found is that we've got quite a bit more need in dollars, as kind of as Randy's slide showed there, than what we have available to us. What I would ask of you guys is to work together just like we did last week. You're going to have to reduce, I believe, the number of projects that you have in your 5-year plan in order to make it fit with what you have in your available budget to you. And I think some questions have been brought up. Monty asked a question last week. The project that we just opened bids on a week and a half ago, which was in July of 2015, but it's actually in the 2016 year class, if you will. It comes out of your 2016 budget. That's one project for around $980,000, I think, is what the bid's opened at. That's one that you will need to consider in your 5-year plan, because that money is coming out of the 2016 year. And then you've got your other projects that are out there under well, not under construction, but underway, if you will. Some of it's the engineering is going on it. Some of it is in the stage of right-of-way acquisition, utility relocation. Those I think you need to keep in your plan, that you've got some stuff going on them. I believe, as we've talked individually, that they're higher priorities to you guys, but then you're going to have to cut back on some other stuff because you just don't have money available to spend out of the CIRB plan to make that work. So now I'm going to kick it back to you guys. You tell us what is your priorities and your 5-year plan, and where do you want to spend your available dollars so that we can work with CED5 and put that out there to marry up with the rest of the Division 4 pot.
Well, roughly we got about 2.6 million a piece for the 5-year plan. Is that right?
2.78.
2.78.
If you start dividing it equally, yeah.
Okay. I guess my question, like skeleton number 2 project I got on the 5-year project, how much money have we already spent on that? So, I mean, I don't have these numbers, so I don't know how much I can get done for the 2.6.
Also, to add to that, when you say funds available, that seems to be a moving target up till this, with this last legislative session, right? So funds available, are those funds lockboxed somewhere? Do you have those set aside for Logan County, or is that just a big pool of money that you guys have at ODOT that you allocate when the bills come available, and you estimate that this is the amount of money that you have available for Logan County? How is that being taken care of? How's that being looked at? Is it
Don't wanna
our
cut-
money or is it your money until you tell us it's our money? That's what I'm asking you.
It is the county's money that's managed by ODOT, and it is not something that's given to Logan County. It is designated for the 9 counties in Division 4.
So there is no real pot of money.
Right, that's
Of
part,
excuse me, there's
Go ahead.
really no pot of money of $8.3 million, let's say, for Logan County for a 5-year plan. That's just an estimate from ODOT that we need to plan for, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so we really don't have that money.
That's
So
correct.
it's hard for us to put a plan together when we don't know how much money we have. And how much has been spent, I mean, to go along with what Monty said.
Well, like down on the coal train, you know, if he's got 2.6 million for 5 years, how much money have we already spent on right of way, engineering? I mean, has he already ate up his 2.6 million? I don't know this.
Okay.
He doesn't know that either. I mean, I don't know that.
the-
That's he.
I would say that the money that's been spent on each of these projects, whether it's design efforts on Skeleton Creek or right-of-way utilities that have been spent on Coltrane Road, or even some of the other projects, like Mike's had a couple of bridges that have been built in his area, as your district too, Monty, that further on back north and west in the county there. I kind of look at that, maybe I'm incorrect, but I kind of look at that as money that's been spent behind us. You don't factor that into what's coming up in your next 5-year plan to a point, because you do have to kind of think about, well, what has been spent within Logan County for the amount of money that if you haven't spent anything in this district and you spent quite a bit over here in this district, y'all are going to have to kind of keep that amount somewhat in mind there. Now, I will thought we had gotten some information to you guys on how much money has been spent on each project here. I thought Mark Scott had sent some information to you.
I received that
Okay,
letter.
No.
then I'm incorrect on that. I stand corrected.
If I may, Shannon, you and I met and we spoke about the issue of knowing, for this board to know. And I'll put it out here, this is what I've told each of my commissioners, what I've told you and told Jeffrey. Without having a ledger for each individual project that designated the budget for each line item, much that's laid out in the scopings, the actual expense of each of line item, and whether it's been paid off or there's still money due, it's kind of hard for this board to form up how to spend this next $8 million if they don't know the balance due on each project. This that we did get, is this what you're talking about? This ledger, 5-year plan ledger, indicates everything you all have on the 5-year plan is $18 million.
That's what was sent by Benny Mitchell.
Okay, Benny Mitchell. If this board has to come in and cut $10 million off their projects, they cannot conceivably make a responsible decision if they don't know that it's going to take $8 million to finish Coltrane, or it's going to take $5 million to finish Luther, and how to evenly balance out that money across 5 years if they don't know the numbers from the total that was budgeted to what was spent to this is what's left to be done. They can't commit the CBRI account if they don't know what they're committing to, or make a commitment on their force account funds if they don't know what they're committing to and what they can actually complete and get through in the 5 years. This isn't anything I haven't said to you all and them all week long.
Yep.
Personally, I think that there should be, again, the ledger for each individual project with the line item broke down, the budget, the actual, the over, the under, whether that line item is completed or still has time to go. That ledger then needs to move up to a CED ledger per county so that there's a county, the same thing. and then on up the scale to a 3-part, so that these gentlemen and statewide, the Board of County Commissioners can lay their hand on these fingers and make these decisions that you guys are asking them to make. We don't know how much money's laying in the pot. You're saying 8.7 or 8.3 is expected over 5 years, but did we spend everything that we had available to us prior to 15? We don't know, because nobody is producing those ledgers and those balances.
Right, and to follow up with that, to say that money that we've already expended or let for 2015 may not count what we're doing, or it might count. See, those are all ambiguities that makes it very difficult to do a budget. Either it is or it isn't. I mean, it's either red ink or it's black ink. I mean, this is pretty simple when you're doing budgets.
That is a really moving target, as I was about to say. The serve money account is a designated account, my understanding, for the state general fund, which is where it resides. And ODOT picks on that and then puts it onto the roads, whichever project, whichever bills that comes up. Now, that money is still in the state general fund. So we're looking at another shortfall at the legislature here this next year of estimated $1 billion. But are they going to be getting these kind of funds again? So we don't even know that the SERB money is even going to be there for the next 5 years at $8.2 million. So what are we going to do?
Rely on our old plan, Shannon. I mean, we just left the contract on that project of mine. It was $980,000. Then I got to add in the utility relocation and the engineering and the land. So
For the
we're
other
talking about
projects.
$1 million or $1.2 million.
Oh, you're saying that's been spent on that project?
Right, been spent on that project.
Okay.
So I guess, like, I could have my next project ready to go, but if I take it off the 5-year plan and someone else don't have their project ready to go, how would I get it funded if I take it off this 5-year plan? And I'm sitting there ready to go.
Okay, I lost you on that last bit there.
Well, if I had my Skeleton Creek number 2 project ready to go,
Gotcha.
everything's been relocated, everything's done, and Mike's project falls off, he can't get it ready to go. With mine not being on the plan, I couldn't get my project done. Right?
If it's not, if you don't have it on the 5-year plan, we can't expend any SERB dollars on it. That's correct there.
Well, that's my problem. If I leave it on the plan, we can't balance. I'm gonna be way over the 2.6 million. But if I take it off and one of them, their projects falls off, none of us get a project.
And that's the whole challenge that we have with cutting our 5-year plan back to an imaginary number that
Okay.
that we don't know what it really is. As Mike brought up, it could get cut next year, but I'm not here to
It's an
debate
imaginary plan.
what may or may not happen next year. But you're asking us to cut our 5-year plan back to plan for a certain level of funding that we're really not sure that level of funding's there or going to be there. And if he takes projects off of that, then there's no way to get funding if someone else, another county, if you decide that another county has got a lot of projects allocated and they're not ready to go, maybe Logan County can get a bump up on their 5 because another one's, that's decisions you have to make. But if he takes it off the plan, there's no way he can do that. There's no way we can do
I
that.
guess my question, if I move my bridge out to, say, 18, and one of theirs falls off, can I move it back up and get it funded in 17?
That is how we're looking at in other areas of the state, other counties of the state, where they have $8 or $9 million worth of projects in their 5-year plan, 2016 to 2020, whether it's bridge or roadway projects or whatever. And if a project doesn't get ready within 2016, but you do have another project that does get ready from 2017 in that same county, we are entertaining and advancing those projects forward for construction. while we have available funding in there. And I think a couple of different things, Mike, you know, to say, well, we don't know whether there's going to be funding available. We're going to have to make an assumption that the legislature leaves the $120 million alone. If it doesn't, well, then what that amounts to is on down the line in years 4, 5, and 6, or 4 and 5, you may end up just dropping projects off of that and putting those into the unscheduled pool. Same sort of thing happens right now with what you have available. You have I'm going to have to say it's an estimated amount of money that you have probably available to you out of the SERB plan. And again, it is a county fund that's set up for you. The only thing that ODOT has is we're just paying bills out of that fund. We seem to be able to make this work in the other counties across the state where they've got an estimated amount of income, and then they have a 5-year plan that pretty much meets that same estimated amount, and it doesn't matter which field division that's in. It seemed to be working there. I will get for you the request of how many dollars have been spent on each project. We'll have that to you this week on what you have in your plan right now and the dollars that have been allocated. And matter of fact, we will have a historical accounting of how many dollars have been spent within Logan County and every project that's been in the SERB plan, and dollars that have come out of that too. We will get that for you this week.
How often can they revise the 5-year plan?
Every year.
So I guess to make my district balance, I mean, my priority would be the bridge over Beaver Creek. Seems how it's closed. The other 2 are still open, so I can move 2 of my projects outside of this 5-year plan. But if I have them ready to go, I'd like for them to be able to advance forward if the money's there.
If they're not in the 5-year plan, we won't be able to advance it and spend money on it at this time. If they are in the 5-year plan, then we can move those around within that 5-year plan as needed there.
Yeah.
So it can't be on the 5-year plan and annotated as currently unfunded.
Correct.
Why?
It's not in the plan officially.
I mean, why can it not be in the plan officially? If we all agree that it's not funded at this time. But if it does pick up funding, it can. I guess that's.
I mean,
something
there's
we can
other
talk about later.
fundings.
I do have a technical question though on JP number 28726.
Which year class, sir?
Well, it starts off in 2015. 2872605. It says contract for PE as of 10. It's the engineering contracts for, and this one says it's for Charter Oak PE for 2872604. I can't find that job on this 5-year plan at all.
What I believe that's showing there, what that'll say is that normally the 04 job piece number is for construction.
Right, but I can't find that there's no 726 job number on here for any kind of construction. I can't find it.
And that's part of the trouble that I'm seeing with our 5-year plan is that we don't have the rest of that shown in there. Now there are places where
Now this is what we got from you, right?
from your past 5-year plan.
Benny Mitchell sent this.
Yes, that is this comes off of our past 5-year plan that we've taken to the Transportation Commission. And doesn't say that this is right or wrong, it's just what we've got in the plan, and that's why we're needing to look at everything that's within the plans across the state.
So the first thing I think we probably need to do is get a good accounting of what's in the plan, because it appears that this isn't it either right now, right?
This is what is in your plan. Yes, sir.
Okay.
But you can't find the construction part of it.
No,
is
it's
what
not
you're
on
saying.
here. I mean, I can't
That's right.
map it,
You just need to
but we're
find
doing
out where that's
engineering
at.
for what,
Yeah.
right? And the whole, or for what part may affect our 5-year plan.
And it-
I need to know, we
And
need to know
if
that.
I may, Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
and this is a challenge. You guys aren't unique. Logan County's not unique because when we look back as a state as a whole, I have to look at the overall balance. It's state funds for county roads. It's state funds. That's the way the state looks at it, and that's why ODOT is given the oversight of the program. The challenge is keeping that balance down low. We had 261 million in the balance, and these are part of the reasons why. What you're dealing with is that if your project falls off, you can't get the right of way, whatever, do you have another one to come back in Logan County in the 5-year plan? Because these are big projects, it's hard to fill the gaps. And the only other choice you have available in some counties have used their CBRI money to go ahead in the hopes, as long as they follow the correct procedures, to advance the engineering, even though it's not in the 5-year plan, in hopes that they could pull it into the 5-year plan if and chance they get it ready. Because if you're dealing with tribal lands or if you're dealing with some sort of right-of-way issue, it could totally blow up your schedule of your project.
Sure. Jeffrey Dixon.
That's an ACOG project. That is the engineering for Charter Oak to get it into the ACOG funding source.
That one you were asking about, Marvin, there, that's where that's at, is the anticipated construction for that, and it's similar to another one that's may also be in there for Simmons Road, and I hadn't looked at that close. Is anticipated construction dollars, at least part of it.
What was that?
I didn't want to interrupt. I just wondered, is the ACOG money guaranteed?
No.
When we're considering it? It's not, is it?
Just like it's not guaranteed for toll trains.
So, why is this on this report then, if it's not?
Service
Fund-
paying for part of it.
Service paying for the engineering.
Correct.
They're applying for ACOG for the construction.
Which is part of the points you have to have.
Okay,
in order to be able to get it.
so if we don't have this funded, why would we want to pay for engineering in 2015?
Engineering gets paid for so that the project can advance to a point in which ACOG will not fund a project until it is virtually complete.
Okay, so, yeah, so I get that point, right? So again, why would we want to pay for engineering on a project that we may not have funds to do? That's kind of where I'm at.
So we are more competitive at ACOG when it comes to getting the funding for these roads.
We also have some situations out here in other counties where we're finishing up the construction of a bridge project in 2016. We anticipate doing the engineering in 2018, and maybe then the right-of-way and utilities in 2019, and then we anticipate continuing on with that project and building another bridge project in 2021 maybe. That is a legitimate use of the 5-year plan for projects out there. You do have to look further on forward for projects that are, and I'm not going to call a bridge like that, and in the unscheduled pool, the construction on it may be further on out, but there are definitely projects where you do some of it. We're spending some money on construction this year, and maybe some construction next year on another project, and some construction the third year on another project, but you also have engineering filtered in there in different places too.
Okay, so we just need to capture all of the prospective costs in this plan, and again, it doesn't seem like it's all here, so if we could get an updated plan with all those costs, that would be great.
I will get that to you this week.
Hey Jeffrey, on Skeleton Creek project number 2, how much money have we spent on engineering on that? You got any idea, just an estimate?
I think like right around 100.
So that's what I don't like. We're gonna pay him $100,000 for this engineering, and then I gotta kick my bridge plumb off the 5-year plan to fund the rest of it, to make this balance.
You're also paying for right of way and utility relocation.
Well, that's like Luther Road, you just engineered 6 miles of Luther Road. How much money did we spend on that? And now we gotta truncate it, we don't know how
We should be able to do a preliminary.
short we have to make it, but I think, isn't this something that the CED,
That money, though, the engineering money was allocated in previous years. That
Correct.
doesn't fall into what you're doing now. That money has already been encumbered and allocated for that.
and we spent,
And we
so we
spent-
got that much money involved in that, that was my
But that
point.
doesn't fall
So
into
says the
what you
engineer.
spent for what is keep reoccurring and coming into play. That previous money was part of the years before, so that has been encumbered, that's been set aside, that's been accounted for already.
Correct.
And that money also, for like, each year you put in a specific line item for either right-of-way or utility, those are accounted for. On like Monty's for his skeleton
For
crew,
2.
number 2.
Same thing
So
for
that ain't gonna
Coltrane.
fall in this 16.
No, because that's already been accounted for
Is that
and
right?
encumbered.
You agree with that?
Right, but it is money has been spent.
It's been
We
money
really
to
don't
spend,
want
but
to
that's
go
it.
away.
But then you'd have to, instead of saying for 5 years, you have to back that up to the year in which that was encumbered, and then those funds that you said, so if you're, how much per year? X number of dollars per year, so you have to back it up and add those in for those years.
If we have a project in our current 5-year plan that has pieces of it that were paid for outside of the 5-year plan in advance, we really need to know that. That's kind of what I think we're all getting at.
We'll get that to you.
So that's why this would be so much easier if they would give us the money instead of giving our money to the state and the CED districts and let us manage our own projects.
Applause.
Exactly, I agree.
It just-
Until you get the law changed, I can't help you
Yeah, I
there.
can't change the
will
law,
get
but
you
I
an
mean, we
accounting
don't
of
need
what's
another
been
branch of
spent.
government telling us, well, you need
We
to do
don't,
this.
we don't
this,
really
this.
want you to
Yeah.
help us, we just want you not to
What
get
the
in
feds are doing to the state seems to be doing to us.
I'll stay for the next time, then I'm gonna go work on that information.
So,
I'm not being helpful.
do we table this until the 15th?
No, you don't.
Well, I can't make a decision on what I can spend, what I can't.
No, I can't make a decision. Put this on the
No action.
agenda for the 15th.
Do you want it as a table or a no action? They're different.
I would
I'd say
like it
no
as a no action.
No action.
Okay.
Shannon, if you can get us that, I mean, that, I think that would maybe help
We
us
will.
get our little mind wrapped around that. I do appreciate all the time you've been up here in Logan